Shamangelic Healing podcast is designed as a platform to share authentic conversations about real life issues, providing you with valuable resources and tools to support you in shining your most authentic self, creating a thriving life that you absolutely love, and to support you in manifesting your soul's mission. Welcome to the Shamangelic Healing podcast. We've got something extra special for you today. My guest today is Drew Canole, and we're going to dive into multidimensional living. Drew is an author. He is the visionary behind Organifi, organic products and superfoods. You are going to love his products. You're going to love this conversation about quantum manifestation and really connecting to your fullest, highest potential 5D living. What gets in the way of that? What blocks your higher consciousness? And also what amplifies it? So this is just an epic conversation with a dear soul brother of mine. And he is just an inspiration around living your best life and living an intentional life, as well as optimizing your health. So be sure to check out Organifi.com and use the coupon code Anahata for a discount on everything Organifi. So we'll have that in the show notes to give you 15% off all of those products. You are going to love them, and we're going to talk a little bit about them at the end of the podcast. So tune in and be sure to listen to all of that so you can get the products that you need to optimize your health. And a free gift for you. Be sure to look in the show notes for a free higher self meditation, a guided meditation, so that you can drop into your heart and into your higher consciousness and receive some divine guidance during that guided meditation. So that's super yummy. And since we are in this period of really quantum manifestation, I want to invite you to enjoy 25% off our Quantum Leap 12-month online coaching program. This is the opportunity to look at every area of life and get high performance tools to take your life to the next level. This is optimizing mindset, your vision, your passion, your relationships, your spirituality, your health, your productivity, and providing you with next level tools and resources to just live a thriving life that you came here to experience. Thank you so much for tuning in. Can't wait to share this with you. So let's dive. Welcome to the Shamangelic Healing podcast. Oh, this is going to be a juicy one. Here with Drew Canole, my dear soul brother.
It's good to be here.
It is so good to have you, and happy to have you in Sedona as well.
Yes.
That has really brought light and even more expansion to Sedona.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into multi-dimensional living and how we can really have intentional life and manifest at the quantum level. So.
Wow, what a great title! I'm so curious to hear what we're going to talk about.
Because it's going to be channeled.
It's all present.
It's not us talking; it's the divine talking through us, and that's multi-dimensional living. So, what do you feel that is? What's the difference between just a 3D reality and a 5D experience? What do you think differentiates those two?
Yeah, so I think it starts with the premise of I don't know anything. And like you said, it's allowing that information to come to us. So in the moment now, what I'm experiencing in looking at my past, which I try to stay away from now, I'm trying to live totally in the moment. So even when employees come to me and they're like, hey, how was your weekend? I'm like, hey, peacefully, I want to honor and respect you, but I forget what the weekend was even all about, because I'm here. Right. So to be here is the biggest thing with multidimensional living. I think when we live in the past or we're too busy in the future, it takes us out of the joy in the moment. So for me, it's a constant quest to remind myself to be totally present, totally embodied, totally aware and aligned. So activated, aligned, and awakened in the mind. Those are the three things which I help my C-level team at Organifi with to become aligned visionaries, to become aligned leaders or aligned people. And that's what multidimensional living to me, what that means is when you're totally aligned, heart, center, body, mind, and you're just living your life on purpose, your mission is so big that it just pours from you. You don't really have to work. There's no work. There's no doing nothing. It's simply a state of being. And I believe the more we can come alive to being in that joyful moment more and more people wake up and we realize how easy life really is.
So this is what I'm hearing is there's a level of effortlessness.
Yeah.
And that being in the present moment is essential to that 5D experience, that multidimensional living. Is that
yes.
What I want to ask is what blocks,
yes.
what tends to block that experience from happening? And I'm already hearing one of those is when you're not in the present moment,
yeah.
when you're living or like in the stories of the past. It doesn't mean we can't learn from the past or dream about the future, but or the magic is here. So
yeah.
what do you think tends to keep like it's a constant dance. So
yeah.
what do you think blocks people from having those experiences?
I think the biggest block is believing that you are a person. Right? Is believing that
mind blowing already. Okay.
You believe that you have a life and it separates you from your life. And I think that's one of the biggest blocks. Because when we feel like we're a human doing, we can't be a human being. I feel like that's a veil that's been casted on us since the beginning of time. It creates separation, it creates illusion. When we believe we're a different color, when we believe we're a certain height, when we believe we're a chronological being living in this meat sack, right, versus the multidimensional being that we are. And many people are waking up to that. They're like, whoa, this is weird. They're starting to see glitches in the matrix. They're starting to see things that are happening where it's like, I never noticed this before, but it's now showing up. Right. So it's showing up in their field as their light body is becoming more activated, and the other bodies that they have, which is beautiful, I think. So that's one of the big veils, is the separation, the duality, that you are separate from everyone, everything, every living being, even a simple rock is crying out in adoration from source, just like we are. You know, it's like that human soul that we have.
So the separation is one of those big things that keeps us
massive.
From that. Like the separation from consciousness, separation from our potential, separation from everything, everyone, separation from universe.
Because it creates need. And when we're in our needy ego, when I need something from anybody, when I need something from you, it makes me forget who I really am. Yeah, who you really am as a sovereign being, where everything should continue just to come effortlessly to you without you trying to do anything at all. But because you've stacked on all the trauma and the samskara from the past, you believe that you're this needy thing out here where you're not provided for. So it creates struggle. Right. And struggle is that veil.
And that's coming from the stories, the programs.
Yeah.
This is your path, you have to do this, this is what's possible, all of these constructs that when we came in from light, because we came in from the 5D, we came in from this fully expansive space into a 3D reality where
amnesia.
Exactly. There is going to be an asleepness that happens and a remembering, which is like the spiritual awakening, the journey of remembering again. And what I'm hearing is this, one of the things that blocks is that attachment to the identities, the limitations, the beliefs, and the stories and the victimhood from the traumas of the past.
Yes.
Can really keep us from our multidimensional, unlimited self.
Yeah, the wounds of the past, the trauma of the past. So I could tell you all day long about how I was tortured as a child and my dad would hold my head underneath the water in the bathtub and all these stories. But that's not serving us now, because that's all
How did you move out of that, since that was a real trauma and a real experience?
Yeah.
And
but was it real? Right? So that's the recognition that, was it real, and who was the man that did this for me, right, for me? It wasn't to me. It was this situation that I set up before I opened up the birth portal and came into this experience to have an experience of a lifetime, to give me the trauma and give me the wounds and the stuff that I needed to feel me. Yeah. Like that's a tremendous, trauma's fuel.
Well, it's a great teacher.
Rocket fuel.
It's a great teacher. And if we're stuck in the experience of the victim, this happened to me, then I can't see how it happened for me, which is a higher perspective, more of a 5D reality when we're looking at it from a bigger lens of what is this teaching my soul, what environment, what is the classroom here that I came to learn from, and one of the things that I experienced in navigating out of that with my traumas, in my experience, is that for me to raise my vibration of the heart space,
Yes.
it had to know forgiveness, which is one of the most powerful frequencies in the heart.
Yeah.
And there's no way I can deeply know and understand that if I don't have someone to deeply forgive. If I haven't had a samskara, which for those, that means like a wound or a scar, an imprint, for those that don't know that term, if I haven't had that experience, there's no way I can go back to that and underneath it and above it to say, here's my opportunity to practice forgiveness and access the fullest expression of my heart, which is a multidimensional portal and a gateway that humans have access to.
Yeah.
Is that fully awakened heart. Well, if I'm angry, if I'm resentful, if I'm hurt, if I'm the victim, and I'm still experiencing hate, there's no way I have access to my multidimensional, most powerful, tool is love. And so how did you, I mean, I realized that when I got out of it and I could look above that, I was like, wow, my father brought to me the opportunity to experience compassion and forgiveness. And there's no way I could have done it without him.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for bringing that up. Forgiveness was one of the things. I remember being a 6-year-old child praying to God to forgive my father.
Wow.
For all the trauma that I had. And that really set me on a different timeline then.
I'm sure.
I have a biological sister who it took a little bit longer to forgive, and you can see the choice of forgiveness and how it freed me in the situation as a 6-year-old to really let go, to be free, to have more peace. And then later on, I think I was like 28, Dad got 3 life sentences, biological father, to jail. And I forgave him. I figured I was healed from it. We always...
Right, there's more layers.
Yeah, the ego's like, oh, I'm completely free.
I'm
done with this. I've read hundreds of hours of personal development books, taken Landmark and all these other courses. But there was still I was still angry. There was still this anger inside of me, this visceral anger. And I realized that I had to do more work. And the work from forgiveness went to gratitude and thanking him for doing it to me. And then the work from forgiveness to thanking him to having the gratitude was actually the recognition that it wasn't him doing it to me, that it was myself.
Right, that's a fifth dimensional perspective.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to be able to heal it or evolve it from a 3D reality, because we're still going to be in the limited experience of it. And looking at it through a straw, thinking that's all the whole story, when a 5D reality is, no, this happened for us to grow, and also to provide an experience for him.
Yes.
And
maybe his whole life experience was to come into this life and teach his son forgiveness.
Right.
And he served his purpose
as
a sentient, ageless, eternal soul. Maybe that was the lesson that he chose to come in, and what a great lesson for him to have that.
I want to acknowledge the part that you honored your emotions.
Yeah.
Whether it was anger, rage, resentment. The first time I started my healing work, my deeper core healing work with my father, the first emotion that came up was rage. Then grief, sadness that it happened, sadness that, all of these things. And I think as part of being a 5D being is to acknowledge our human emotions have intelligence, and not to oppress
100%.
Rage or not to oppress the grief or the sadness, because that's part of the healing journey. So how did emotions play a part in moving this experience so that you could be accessing more of an expanded emotional range of joy? Because joy is the flip side of anger, and it's all of it. It's not just that 5D is only joyful all the time, because we're still a human experience. We're still spiritual beings having a human experience. So how did you navigate your emotions during your healing process?
What's interesting is I bypassed a lot of my emotions to begin with.
Yeah.
And I went entirely into the metaphysical realm and the thought realm. And I believed I could outthink my emotions, right? Or that my thoughts created my emotions, and then the emotions would manifest in, the reality. And I was in control of my emotions for a long time. And I became a master at manufacturing any emotion that I wanted to experience in the moment. I would set an intention to experience an emotion in the morning, and I would elicit it through the thinking and the power of my mind, right? And the ancient Kabbalion text talks about the fourth dimension, or the fourth reality, which is the mental realm, which is above the third density, which is the 3D, the physical density. So I thought if I could operate in the mental realm, pulling it down into, but what happened was I ended up putting the trauma and the samskara and everything that we had just talked about in boxes.
Yep, compartmentalizing.
And compartmentalizing and only operating on like a 2-lane highway. And as soon as I unlocked it, handled the emotion, asked the emotion in my body of what it wanted to tell me, and then I traveled, I shrunk my astral body down, and then I went into parts of my body to look at, you know, what was happening here. If I had a pain in my arm or my shoulder, what is the emotion that's creating this, or the physical thought that's creating this form in my body? So I'd travel to that, and then I'd get more answers, and then I would journal about it and write down, you know, what's happening in my life to experience the immobility of my left arm, which is related to my mom, and the movement of what I do in the world, the work that I have with this left hand. And then I would have more information.
Right.
So the emotions are just information.
It's deep
Yeah,
inner
deep
work.
information,
Deep inner
unconscious
work.
information.
So everything is a clue.
Yes.
When the body is having an experience, a pain, a dis-ease, a tumor, an experience that
Yes.
is not in alignment, a dis-ease, a disease, it's a communication, there's energy blocking.
And it's great news. There's no bad news. It's just a warning indicator on a dashboard of your multidimensional vehicle that you're just renting anyway. So even if it's like, hey, next week you're going to be gone from this physical realm, it's like, oh, that's great news. Like, here we go again, right? Let's see where I come. I'm going to come back stronger anyway, right?
Well, it's the ultimate non-attachment.
Yeah.
Because if we're not attached to this body, there's this awareness that we're a multidimensional being here for a period of time.
Yeah.
And when I get that, when I really get that, which I forget that and then I remember
Yeah, well,
that.
you still have your shoes on, so of course. And me too. Like, I'm
Right?
sitting here with you.
Right, we're in this experience.
Yeah.
But there's a reason our 5D, our spirit, our soul, our consciousness is in this body now.
Yes.
And there's that remembering process of going back to unravel all of the distortions and all of the forgetfulness and the pains to remember, oh yeah, this is who I really am.
Yeah.
Outside of the role of gender and son or daughter or spouse, or I'm this in the community, I'm this in society, and
Labels.
peeling it all back, doing a lot of inner work to be able to discover what's underneath all of that. And that seems like it's the timeless,
Yeah.
eternal sense of self.
I had a great teacher with this, and I would study with him every morning for like 5 years, Frank. He's like this sentient being who was put on the planet just to help and give back, right? Beautiful human. And I would have breakfast with him every morning, and we'd read scripture and other, metaphysical books. And one of his analogies was, it's the only thing you have to do, Drew. You're in the blessing business. It doesn't matter what you're actually doing. He's like, you're just here to help people and like uplift their souls and their spirit and that. And he's like, it's like a mirror. As human beings, we stack on all these sticky notes and these other things on the mirror, and eventually you don't see the reflection, and the reflection's perfect. He's like, you just get to clean the mirror off every day. So now it's the routine and the ritual of, what do I need to remove? What emotions do I need to check in with? What thoughts am I having now? And then just go back to the original, because the original is perfect. But the tonal, as the Toltecs would tell us, is very convincing. The 3D body is very convincing. It's very real.
Well, and that part of the mind that is keeping us stuck in the old paradigm, because it's so afraid to be identified with the unknown or something it can't control. And the 5D is not in that space where the mind can control. Because it is, like we started with, this ultimate surrender, or allowing spirit, soul, universe, consciousness to move through the hollow bone, the hollow vessel, not contriving, not pushing, but in that trust space of allowing this divine flow of energy to move through unobstructed, which is a big push and pull with the ego that wants to say, no, it's got to go this way, and it has to look like this, and in this timing. So how have you navigated your ego wanting to control the construct of the human experience?
Yes, I'm a massive controller too.
I don't know anything about that, Drew.
Which I love. Control is a great thing. It's one of my superpowers. Order is one of the highest values in heaven. So I love order. I love divine order. I love control. I love knowing. But there's a point when it's Mother Nature, the innate quality of the unconscious of your body, your subconscious mind, which is your body, is so much more powerful than your mind. So to free yourself from the thinking, from the TikTok mundane reality or the matrix society that we live in, and just allow your body to do what it knows, right? I was having a conversation with my dear brother Nick this morning, and I'm like, the more we read and the more we're trying to learn, the heavier we become. And this is a lesson my Don taught me. And he's like, you need to stop reading so much. It's like, it makes you heavy. And if you're heavy, you can't fly, right? And that right there, it's like we're in this all-consuming, I need to read, I need to get these courses down, I need this self-development, this, and it's just piling more stuff on the mirror.
It can feel like there is this forcing energy to spiritually awaken, to kind of crack open things when there's a softening. I'm finding with the transformational work, like it doesn't have to be forceful or pushful. It can softly open in the right timing. And I see a lot, bypassing is one of those things where it's like, oh, it's not happening, I'm just going to override it.
Yes.
And I don't need to actually do the denser work of looking at my feelings and learning to listen to my emotions and going to have a conversation with my inner child and feeling the feelings, especially for men. I'm told, don't feel, don't cry, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And don't ask for help, and don't be alone, for God's sakes. You know, and that journey of that invitation to go inward can be terrifying.
Yeah.
And like avoiding at all costs. And this is where it's not uncommon when we're not ready or not willing to go and do that inner work, to run, hide, sedate, you know, and this is where our addictions just, skyrocket during our asleep phase of life.
100%.
Is like reaching for sex, reaching for drugs, reaching for alcohol, reaching for work, external validation, anything to get the feeling, to avoid the feelings from rising.
Which is what the Matrix TikTok society wants you to be.
Exactly. Keep sedated.
Yeah, keep sedated, because you're easier to control. Like if I can keep these things in front of you and carrot and stick you into these other things that I know, your primal nature, your limbic brain fires on, then let's just keep you going down that path.
And what, during your sleep time, what was your mode of distraction or numbing?
I think women, for me, like as an adolescent man and growing up in my 20s, I was very much what they would, I would always leave any human being that I'd ever come in contact with better than I found them, right? I had that heart thing going, but I was always fascinated by that feminine energy because I never got it from my mom.
Right.
As an abandoned kid and mom, I had all kinds of mommy issues.
Well, and that's coming from a 3D perspective of it.
So
instead
that was
of,
my
wait,
vice.
how can I go to Divine Mother? How can I go to Divine Father? How can I go to Universal Love? And in the healing practices is always the journey is to go into that so that there isn't a gap any longer, and we're not having to look for that in a woman or in a man to look externally, where we can go directly to that and source it from self.
It's real. And I got into alcohol for a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of external stuff that validated me. And I'm still not 100% free of it.
Right, it's a journey.
I like validation here and there, but I've learned to get my validation from the divine realm.
Yeah.
More so than the physical. You know, I'm going to my father often, and I'm talking to, Mother Earth a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we do that when we go on the land.
Exactly.
It's just so delicious. It's so sweet. And it doesn't have an agenda or limitation.
Yeah.
It's not going to leave. It's not going to hurt. It always is witnessing us in our humanness. It's not going to judge. And it feels so delicious to be in that fifth multidimensional experience of being loved, seen, and acknowledged.
Yeah.
Without having to owe anybody anything in exchange. And
I think that's a great way, what you just said too, not have to owe anybody in exchange, that external validation. When we talk about control, and wanting to control everyone around us or the business or what we're doing in life, like I need to have control on it. I think when we surrender to Divine Father or Mother, it really frees you. Like it's not me, like we have 100 employees, but I'm not doing anything. It's like my business partner is governing me, and my business partner isn't inside the 3D.
Right, exactly.
Right.
This is more what I call quantum manifestation, when we're allowing things to manifest through us instead of trying to force manifestation from happening, where you're in that vibration of unlimited potential then things flow and we're able to intuit more what is in alignment with our path and what is in dissonance, because the dissonance is going to be where we're going to manifest debt or chaos or conflict.
Yes.
And when there is alignment with who we are and there's that listening to our soul's higher guidance, and or there's that allowing that says, hey, this is ending, or this dynamic needs to evolve or go this way. You're like, yeah, but I'm still attached to this business or this relationship. And how do you navigate a level of trust when you're receiving divine guidance that takes you in a way that your ego's like, hell no?
Yeah. So in the beginning it was hard, but I set up code in the program of my life where it's like, no matter what happens, it's the best thing that could happen for me. So I have a default. And, you know, we were spending $100,000 in ads on Facebook a day last year in October. And they were like, no, see you guys later. We don't want you on our platform anymore. Censorship or whatever happens with these big platforms. And we lost $100,000 in potential revenue per day that these ads were creating. And at the time, I'm like, whoa, that's interesting.
Maybe a few other responses.
Yeah, but then within 2 minutes, I'm like, you know what, guys? My whole team was there. I'm like, this is the best thing that could ever happen for us. And every moment is. And when you choose that, it's like a whole nother key that opens up the 3D into the, you know, other dimensions of possibility. Yeah. Because that's all it is. The quantum realm is just full of what quantum physics really is possibility, right? It's opening up to the possibility that something greater than what is happening now can happen in any moment. And when you're aware of that, you start seeing into the invisible realm more than you ever would. Opportunities, situations, circumstances just unfold in your life without you, the personal that you think you are, the identity that you think you are, just dissolves. And you become, in the quantum realm, like you just said.
A high level of trust when a big financial or relationship door closes or slams shut. I'm sure, you know, in this COVID experience for a lot of us, those were big, holy shit moments where business or relationship or health, everything just got turned upside down. And when that happens, there's the tendency to go into contraction survival mode.
Turtle shell.
Yes, and I remember, like, and it's okay, like you said, hey, you had some time to just be like in that density reality. And so I call this the pivot, right? But first, the feel it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'm surprised, I'm upset, I'm worried, I'm afraid. Okay, let me give myself permission to swim in that for a little period of time. Get it all out. Now pivot. What are we going to do about it? You know, what is this? You know, what is this opening the door to? You know,
which I love.
And that, because otherwise you can stay stuck in the poor me victim. You can stay stuck in that, and then that becomes your story for the next 6 months, pushing away other possible opportunities or decades, lifetimes, and instead, there can be this opportunity. This is happening for me. Yeah. There's something even better. There's another door opening.
Yes, multiple doors.
That takes a whole lot of faith, especially when you're leading a team and they're looking to you to be like, what should we do?
Yes.
And like, I give myself permission to throw my tantrum, to acknowledge, whoa, that was a big, like, 180. I'm a little unsettled right now. Everything just got moved around. And then I'm not going to make any decisions from a chaotic place.
No.
Because I'm only going to manifest more chaos from that place, back to feel the feels, and then, all right, what wolf am I going to feed? The white wolf of possibilities and unlimited, potential, or the victim, the pity party? Am I going to feed that more and manifest more of that? Or am I going to feed and manifest more possibilities, more potential? And after this whole COVID experience happened, a shakeup, and lots of doors closed. Lots of revenue went like out in an unexpected way. And then it was like pivot, inner alignment, and then boom, manifest. It was one of our most busy months in those months after that because of the pivot that happened.
The pivot is everything. Yeah, you're muddling in the muck, is what my Don would say, right? And he says, whenever you're hanging out by the pool, he's like, don't get wet.
Why
And the
is
pool is media. The pool is, any discordant thought, any scarcity thinking,
fear.
any fear that is in the 3D that's very real, the matrix, that's getting wet. When you jump in the pool, he's like, you can go in the pool, but don't get wet. He's like, don't surround yourself in those low vibratory realms. And if you are there, I like what you said, because you're there for a second, the pivot happens. You were once muddling in the muck, patting yourself on the back for feeling the feeling, and then also
Not
telling
bypassing.
yourself a new program.
Yeah.
So knowing that you handle situations well, knowing that because of your connection, I believe you have there's 3 realms. You have your physical body, you have the heaven spiritual realm, and you have your soul. Your soul's operating on a line that's going back and forth from these realms. To be fully in your soul expressed in your body is to mean that you're an avatar, like you're here to represent divine consciousness. Most people's soul has completely left their body because they got their mask on and they're all afraid and everything's happening. So I'm calling right now, what's coming forth is divinity is going to show up expressed in humanity even more.
Yeah.
We're tuning into that field, but it takes us recognizing that everything that's happened in COVID has happened for us. It's such a blessing. No matter what happens in the future, like this is the greatest opportunity. I had the best year last year. Like I'm totally the luckiest man in the universe.
Because that's a choice.
Yeah.
That's a mindset.
Exactly.
That's
And
a mindset. Doesn't mean there weren't challenges. Doesn't mean there wasn't a lot of pivots or
Yeah.
a lot of doors closing, a lot of upset. But it's how it's handled.
And it's how you look at it. Yeah. So even the label of looking at it that way is a certain feeling to it.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm here to teach my C-level team and other entrepreneurs that I work with is that once the words are spoken, because your word, spelling is a spell, right? Abracadabra, what I say, is created. Abracadabra, like everything that I say. So once you're conscious of that, everything that leaves your lips is quite literally setting up a whole universe of possibilities. So in every day, in every way, how am I creating life getting better and better for me and for everybody around me?
Because we can be
Right.
we can be spell casting
Yes.
positivity and inspiration and unity consciousness.
Yes.
Or we can be spell casting fear, separation,
Which is what they
overwhelm,
want.
victimhood, and that's kind of what the media is taking us towards.
Yeah.
So,
and it's even beyond the media.
of course. So, as somebody in this experience with the 3D reality, I've noticed that people can be so in this 3D that there is a disconnection to the awareness that there is this other realm of possibilities.
Yeah.
And that's our asleep phase. That we're deeply entrenched in,
Yes.
in the matrix, don't know, don't care, not ready to know. And that's going to be the vibration of addiction. That's going to be the vibration
Yes.
of conflict and struggle. And every single one of us will be going through that to get to this other side. Is when we come in, we're going to be having that experience of amnesia and contraction so that we can unchoose it.
Which people are going through now.
Absolutely.
At a mass, and on a level that we've never seen on this planet. If you look at the Schumann resonance, it's through the roof.
Yeah.
Like the energy of the frequency of the planet is shifting so quickly that it's causing discord and disturbances in the body.
Because that's what wakes us up.
Yeah.
Whether it's the physical body of dis-ease, because we're seeing lots of dis-ease accelerating, amplifying cancers and heart disease and viruses and so forth, amplifying to say, hey, something's in dissonance. Something's not in alignment here.
Yes.
And that, I feel, is what, in the healing practice, when people come, there's always a dissonance that is waking them up. Whether it's a divorce, whether it's a disease, whether it is
the chaos,
a death, something is getting them to shake up, or a pattern that keeps repeating, and they're in such deep pain that they're ready to say there must be another way. And now we get to activate the power of divine will that says I can rise above whatever contraction I've been being held by.
Yes.
And that's a choice to rise and remember.
Yeah, because a lot of it you set up before you came here.
Of course.
So that choice point is the remembering of, hey, I'm 55 now, and all of a sudden this thing happened to me. Like, why would that happen? Well, it's maybe because I haven't lived my soul's purpose of why I came here in the first place. Right. So what is my soul's purpose? And then all of a sudden the dis-ease or the thing that was once troubling you just disappears, because now you're on a timeline where the path that you chose before you came here is actually the one that you're honoring, and having that deep remembering.
In that, I think in that, a lot of times there's a clue in the soul path for the trauma and dissonance, whether it was addiction, whether it was abuse, whether it was a health crisis or something like that, is often the classroom that gets us to go down the path of awakening, because now my soul path might be to help other people with this.
Yeah.
There's usually a connection between
Absolutely.
the deeper parts of our life that we help others through.
Your mess is your mission.
Yes. I haven't heard that before. You say that again.
Your mess is your mission.
Your mess is your mission. So if I'm denying that, then I'm also denying that a part of my soul mission.
Yes, and as healers, one thing that's common is once we heal ourselves, we try to get everybody healed right away. We look out in the world of everybody in panic and fear, and we see panic and fear. But the true healer, the mystic, observes everybody as if they're already whole and complete, because they are. So during this whole crisis and the upcoming months that we're going through, the trials and the tribulations, it is not our job to fix. It is to simply observe, bear witness, be the pillar of light, and look at these other human beings, these other brothers and sisters as already whole, as already complete, as already filled with the spirit, that source that's already within them, and just hold that vision, hold the line. And that's why we're here.
That gives that is the 5D expressed in the human experience.
Yes.
This is where we can be in that totally asleepness 3D experience, and when there's awakening, we can want to avoid the 3D and go into the spiritual realm of like, spaceship come and rescue me, take me home, so I don't have to be in the 3D, and that's avoidance.
There's a lot of people that are saying that right now.
Right? And I'm like, wait, this is the most exciting place to be in the universe, right now.
And they're all watching.
We came here now specifically because this is the juiciest place to be.
Oh God.
With people like you remembering Soul Tribe to say, oh, this is, as we look at each other deep in the beyond what I'm seeing, is the soul recognition of, I came here to have this experience with you, to remember who I am through you reminding me, and for me doing that for you, and that you have gifts to help me shine, and I have that for you.
Yeah.
And that there's a power in our collective awakening where we can stand and rise together and bring the 5D awareness into the human experience. And I think that's where the new paradigm is going. Heaven on earth can happen when that happens.
Yes. Yep, there's two timelines. One where it's more control, more lockdown, and the other timeline is infinite peace, bliss, freedom. Right. And that's the one you and I are on. And like I said earlier, we're living in the same reality. We're just operating in different frequencies. People, individual people all over the planet. So it's what frequency do you choose every day. Right. And your routines, your habits, your rituals, those really set your frequency up for what intention, and what intention are you operating on.
So for multidimensional living, what practices would help someone stay connected to that level of awareness, to that vibration? What feeds that, so that we're less, okay, I'm awake, I'm asleep. I'm awake, I'm asleep. How can we stay woke more often as we're navigating the challenges of our relationships, our finances, our businesses, our families? How do we, and external media and what's happening? What are things that people can do every day to stay in that vibration? Yes.
So for 11 years, I've been operating heavenly, or I said heavenly, which is a heavenly thing, is to honor your body. I believe our body is the greatest multidimensional vehicle on the planet. There's so much innate intelligence in every cell of our body. 60 trillion cells every single second entering our bloodstream. With the technology to create new life, one cell could create an entirely new life, that DNA cell, that spark. So I believe blood is one of the most spiritual things on the planet, which in ancient text, drinking Christ's blood. was a way of communion, was a way of connecting to source, right? To God. So what's in your blood? How are you taking care of it? Are you pumping it full of grease and fast food foods, artificial sweeteners, sugar, dairy, wheat, all these other chemicals, these petrochemicals, herbicides, fungicides, things that are environment? Or are you filling it with breath, prana, spirit, which you're a big fan of? Blessed are the poor in spirit. He wasn't saying that the poor in the spirit, he was saying the poor in the breath.
Yeah.
They don't recognize that our breath is the powerful, it's the life force. And when we breathe, we're connected to all the breath of all living organisms on the planet. So let that fill your lungs. Let that oxygen create new blood, right? And in every moment, choose to have more light enter your body. I think that's a powerful thing. And choosing the right foods. Yeah. Doing a simple DNA test, looking at where your ancestry is from. What foods trigger you? Doing an allergen panel, an allele 28 or something like that. Looking at your stool. What's your microbiota doing in your gut? Because there's so much information there that once you have the quantifiable data, and it doesn't have to cost a lot, a few $100. Yeah. Right? How much are you paying for health insurance anyway? Right. Then you have the right information. Because there's things that you're eating now that are causing inflammation. And if you have inflammation in your body, which is your unconscious mind, you're going to have inflammation in your mind.
And in your life, and in your relationships, in your bank account.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Everywhere.
So that's where I was going. Yeah. So first, start with this physical, multidimensional, beautiful body that you have. Take care of it, work it out, breathe it out, right? Do yoga, meditate it out. Like trace your thoughts till they end, and then you can't think anymore. You're just empty. Empty the vessel. Because then you're not going to be triggered. Trigger's just inflammation, right? Trigger's just trauma from the past. So once your vessel's clear, we've activated the body, then you align the mind with the meditation, with doing yogic practices, or I'm a big fan of Tai Chi. Slowly moving. You can go through life in Tai Chi, to where you're not reacting to anything, you're just simply responding. Ken Keyes writes a lot of beautiful books in the 70s about reaction versus responding, and I know Dispenza's about that right now too. So aligning your mind and then awakening your soul. So I think it's the physical body, it's aligning your mind, and then you awaken your soul. And that's where you do your worship every day. I'm singing on the guitar for an hour or two. Praise music, praise to God, praise to source, praise to the archangels that are around us and the light beings that are helping during this great ascension Mama Gia is going through right here, right now, right? So it's the music that wakes my soul up. For me, for some people it's dance, shaking your hips, maybe it's beating on a drum, maybe it's doing breath work, but what awakens your soul up? Is it reading scripture? Whatever it is for you, it's right for you, and you feel it.
What I'm hearing is creating your own spiritual practices that connect you to that, the high frequency of the divine, whatever you name that.
There's thousands of them.
Right. And so that can be church, that can be mantra, mantras, that can be prayer, meditation, all kinds of ways to connect to higher source consciousness. And so
100%.
So that is taking care of these kind of upper chakra energy centers of the body.
Yeah.
And then the mind, clear the mind, calm the mind.
Yep.
Definitely just calming the mind. For me, that's breath combined with nature, and meditation is where I trance out the quickest. Is where I just trance out and the shush, the quiet, so that universal consciousness can come in and infuse the dissonance with a medicine to bring it back to harmony again.
Yes.
And then the physical body, absolutely. I noticed when I was awakening, I was doing a multi-channeled cleansing. I was cleaning the physical body. I was doing lots of detoxification, lots of fasting and lots of cleansing, and then cleaning up the diet at the same time. And when I did that physical body detox, the pineal and the pituitary glands started opening up because it wasn't so physically clogged, and I was able to see, feel, hear, and know things. Clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance all woke up because what you were talking about is cleaning the body temple so that it could actually conduct light and consciousness. It was physically blocked by my diet and the toxins in my body. So that's where Organifi comes in, and we're going to talk about that in a second, because juicing was a big part of that, and high frequency clean diet was a big part of awakening the ability to speak or connect to the spirit realm, which I was physically asleep to, and had I not done the physical cleansing, I don't think the glands would have been able to be so open to receive that. Oh, if I had just gone into meditation and spiritual practices, I don't think I could have accessed that. If it wasn't, I wasn't doing meditation at the top and learning how to clear the mind with breath work and mantra and daily affirmations, shifting the mind, and at the same time doing the physical body cleanse.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I was also doing my deep shamanic healing work, which was clearing the emotional body, which was like, let's clear out rage, which is an energetic and emotional toxin. Let's clear out the sadness, the grief, and all of that. So when that moved, I really became more of that hollow vessel to allow that in. But it was all of those things simultaneously that tended to amplify that, clearing all the channels at the same time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of people tend to focus on the opposite end.
One
I'm
end
going to
or the
become
other.
more spiritual, and all of a sudden I'm going to have all these gifts.
Yeah.
But sometimes the greatest spiritual act you can do is just simply taking care of what you've been given.
Right. Well, and it'll have a limitation. It'll have a ceiling. How far you can go into that spiritual realm will only be determined by how dense the physical, emotional, and energetic and mental bodies is. You'll have diminishing returns where you can only reach this level of consciousness until you do the lower work.
Yeah, because if you're in pain every day, back pain, shoulder pain, whatever it is, how are you going to be so present-minded just to mitigate that 100%? Right. It's hard.
Right.
Some
or
people show up
pain.
with absolute knowing, and they eat cheeseburgers and crap food all day long, and they can see and talk to every ancestor you've ever had, and just, those people are cool. Most people don't have that on Earth right now.
So that's one of the things that definitely, if we're looking at potentially what blocks that level of 5D consciousness, we're looking at physical toxins, emotional toxins.
Air, water, light. Yeah. Those are the three big ones. Voltage as well. I'm a big fan of voltage. And then nutrients.
Wait, can you explain voltage?
So voltage would be like sun gazing, like staring into the sun for 10, 15 minutes, first thing in the morning.
Sunrise.
Eyes kind of like this.
Yeah.
You guys.
Stoner eyes.
Stoner eyes. Yeah, to let in all those nutrients from the sun, resetting your circadian rhythm, resetting your biology every day. Because the sun sees the sun, your internal sun inside of you. And when that internal sun gets more lit up, that chi, that prana, that life force starts to emanate out of you. Yeah. And you feel people like this because you walk into a room with them and they're like, something's different about this person. Yeah. They're like tapped in. You feel the chi. And
one person in that, I love to do sun gazing, by the way, barefoot, so that I'm also getting that grounding energy from Mother Earth.
Yeah.
And definitely dropping into feeling that connection, allowing Mother Earth to detoxify from the bottoms of my feet, Father Sun detoxify through the eye portal. And then, over here, the divine pathway.
Yes.
Uptown, downtown,
Uptown,
midtown.
Downtown, midtown. So beautiful.
And so what I'm hearing that is blocking is physical toxicity, emotional wounding, and the
programs.
The programs
of the mind.
Right.
Yeah, I think the programs of the mind are some of the biggest things that hold us back. The limitations that we have.
So how do you suggest? What is something that, because these programs were put in there when we're highly permeable as little kids. We're designed to model and mimic what is being shown to us. And so
greatest computer on the planet.
Exactly. So we're highly permeable and programmable in our childhood. Yeah. And so these programs will have been installed by somebody else. Yeah. They're not ours, they don't fit, they're usually outdated and corrupt.
And they're very real.
So if that has been in my awareness and I've been navigating from that construct for most of my
so it's your hardware
life,
programming.
It's hardware programming. How do you overwrite when you're wanting to install a new program of I'm unlimited or I'm lovable, I'm worthy? I'm abundant.
Yeah.
When it really is hitting against, there's not enough, nobody loves me, everybody leaves me, all of those programs that many of us are navigating.
Which are beautiful.
And, you know, a part of the journey to unchoose them.
I love those because when people tell me that, it's the way that I see it is God's just playing a game with himself or herself, right? And it's endearing. It's like, this is so beautiful. This perfect child of God doesn't see who they really are. That was confirmation, right? And for me, I learned this from Alan Watts, I think. We're watching his videos a while ago. And he's like, there's 3 roads to become fully enlightened, being, or, avatar self. And one is you can chant for like 60 years. Do mantras on your harmonium, which activates parasympathetic, which flushes out your central nervous system. And if your central nervous system doesn't have any gaps or errors, that's where enlightenment can enter your body. So people that have a nervous system that's just like so powerful, you feel that. Yeah. With the sun gazing and all the physical stuff that we talked about, that definitely helps. There's also, scripture and meditating. You can meditate 60 years every single day for like 2 hours. But the fastest way to get to this enlightened heaven harmony state is to simply become a trickster. And by being a trickster, you delete all the programs that you've had in the past, and you realize that you are living in a giant game. Life is a game. Everywhere you go, you look at it as if it's a simulation. It's not happening to you, but everything's happening for you. It's opening up the infinite field of possibilities right here, right now. When I first started reading Stuart Wilde when I was a kid, probably 15, 16 years old, I read a book called Life Was Never Meant to Be a Struggle. And from that point on, it just embedded in every cell in my body. I'm like, the lion wakes up on the Serengeti. By noon, it has its gazelle. It's not waking up, struggling, waiting in line for its paycheck. It's not trying to get anything from anybody else. The universe delivers everything that we need. And from that moment on, I deleted all the other programs of scarcity. I grew up, my mom was a truck driver, or my dad was a truck driver, mom's a janitor. So I witnessed lack of money. They made collectively together like 30 grand growing up as kids. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 25 years old. Did it, right? So it's realizing and reprogramming, Control-Alt-Deleting the programs that we've had in the past by recognizing that we are in a game. Like, this is not real. And that you're the creator. You're not the victim, you're the victor. Everything that you create in your life, you're literally the hero or the heroine, showing up for your own movie debut. And every moment. And how are you going to be when you're looking back at your life? Because you'll review this scene. The scene that you and I are in right now, we're going to see this again. We're going to be high-fiving each other from the other side, right? Because there's no time on the other side. So we'll be high-fiving. Looking back at this, did I express all the God-given dominion, the talents, the skills that I had in the moment on this podcast, or did I hold anything back? Yeah. And I want to be looking at you, where you tell me, Drew, we lived a huge life.
Yes.
We did it.
All in, all in. And this is an invitation for all of us to be all in, which means it will be required in order to live that fully 5D, your human potential now.
Yes.
Not now,
right
in
now.
some future moment for you to do it, is a program overwrite.
Yeah.
That says that I'm going to need to keep feeding the white wolf of unlimited possibilities. Yeah. And every time a program comes up to knock on the door, because since it's been installed in there and it's been on immediate download every morning for the last number of decades.
You're used to it.
And it's at the top in the search engine for the mind to draw upon. And so it's going to knock on the door, and it's just this awareness that says, I'm not feeding you today. Yeah. I'm feeding this today.
I love that.
It's a back to the pivot again.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm choosing what gets downloaded today. I am the driver of this reality, and that shifts the victim into the victor. That says, no, you're not. No limitation of some program that was given to me, corrupt, not mine, out of date, doesn't belong, doesn't fit. Is like, no, I'm the creator, and I get to choose. This is it. And when you make that pivot, when you make that shift, and we're going to have, there's 80,000 thoughts a day or something like that. Yeah. You're going to have 80,000.
Women have more.
You're probably
women have like 40,000 more than men.
This is probably right, because we're multitasking beings, right?
Life
and
creators.
Men are like really more in that
Yeah.
focus space, and women are.
We have an empty box, nothingness.
So in that place, when you are leaning into that and it's new,
Yeah.
how do you reinforce it?
Yeah.
And how do you begin to live that way when you start saying or believing this is possible? How does that shift out of the mind when we're like, okay, I'm experiencing a new program, I'm choosing to be abundant, $1 million by 25 or whatever it is, or a thriving relationship or whatever you're wanting to manifest.
Yes.
Then the thought meets an experience where an old fear or an old trigger comes up. How do you navigate those places?
You get declined at the grocery store. It's like, I thought I was a millionaire. You had $15 in your bank account, right? Check bounces.
Yeah. Reality
those
check.
moments.
Reality check.
First, you laugh at yourself. I believe laughter is the language of the gods, right?
But not from a humiliating, but like, this is hilarious. This is a comedy.
This is the greatest cosmic joke. And I'm living in it, right? I'm in this freaking humorous movie.
Yeah.
I think humor is a metric that I track at Organifi.
Yes.
How much is the team laughing?
Yeah, good.
Like sometimes I just go back and observe our Zoom calls that we record now because we're virtual, because we're in California and we can't enter our beautiful 20,000 square foot office, right? So I'm observing how many times people are laughing.
Good.
And that is the biggest secret. Like, how do you laugh at yourself? Like, you're ridiculous. Like, how serious we take ourselves sometimes, right?
And I'll be in that space of teaching something and, about manifestation or meditation or something like this, and then trip and fall over it within 5 minutes and be like, damn, I just talked about this on this podcast, or I just talked about this, and here I am doing the other thing, and I get to look at the humanness with a vibration of, oh, isn't that sweet?
It's love.
Isn't that clever? Oh, look at I tripped over that thing. Yeah. That doesn't mean I'm not still accountable to make the change or look at why I tripped.
Yes.
I'm still going to look at it. It's not just, oh, isn't that funny? I'm not making a change. It's like, oh, isn't that humorous? What is this showing me?
Yes.
So what do you do in this situation where reality checks you and it's like, okay, declined?
Yeah.
What do you do there when, like, wait, but I wanted
really
this relationship. Yeah, I do.
This is going to be real woo-woo.
Okay.
So first I throw myself out of my body, right? I'm now observing myself from my higher self, we could call it, with so much love, so much adoration. It's the same energy. We see babies with those little, like the dolly things where they put the rings on, like the blue, green, red. You've seen them, and they go up. And then it tips over and the baby cries, like with the second ring. And the baby birth.
Sadness.
What do we do as humans? We look at this baby, it's the most endearing thing ever, right? We pick the baby up, we put the rings back, and we just watch again. And that's what I'm doing. I'm observing this being that for a moment forgot who it really was. And I have great compassion for Drew, the person of Drew. And because I'm observing, it takes all of the anger, all of the rage, all of the, oh, I'm an idiot, off of me. I'm not doing it. All the judgments are gone in a second. And then what I'll do is I'll take the thought that I have and I'll put it in my finger. And I'll change the voice. Like, this is going to sound so ridiculous.
No, this is great. Right? I'm going to totally try this.
And I'm like, Drew, you're an idiot with your finances. How could you ever get declined at the grocery store? And just by doing this one act, it frees you from the ridiculousness of being so serious about yourself. It frees you up. So throwing the voice outside of you, because sometimes it's just the collective voice. It's not even yours.
The inner critic, or
the inner critic,
inner bully,
or
your
it's
dad's
from your
voice.
parents.
Yeah, right.
So it's usually not yours, and then you get to start coming with more love to yourself. And I think that's the big secret. It's like, how much love, how much joy, how much good can I handle throughout the day?
This is a kind of reparenting the inner child that is having a tantrum, that's hurt, that got, the rejection, whether it's rejection from a relationship, whether it is finances related, whatever it is that's kind of the reparenting work that says, how can I not make this worse by judging or bullying or bypassing or oppressing the feelings right now? Having the feelings, having the silly voice,
Yes.
and then what happens? Now what do you do so that you're not continuing
it
to
doesn't happen
repeat the
again.
reality? Because otherwise, we're just bypassing, and I'm just like, oh, I'm abundant, everything's good, but I haven't changed anything.
Yeah. So number one, getting grateful. So turning it into gratitude.
I've got a whole $15.
Yeah, $15. That's more than 99% of the population has in their bank account. Wow. And then sitting with that, I am rich beyond measure. I have so much money. $15. I am balling. Right? like really calling it in. Like you're conjuring up the energy. And I know it sounds crazy, but if you literally believe that $15 and you're the wealthiest person on the planet, you can give away your $15 and you'll have $150 in the next 10 minutes.
Right.
I've had it happen to me time and time again where I'm like, oh, this is a big check. You'll be writing a bigger check than you've ever written. And I know it's coming back right now. Here we go.
Yep.
Money is simply energy. You give it. Money is my own natural energy yield, is the acronym broken down.
Say that again.
Money is my own natural energy yield, broken down. Money. So how am I showing up? The greatest natural energy source I have is love. How much love can I express in every moment? And if I am loving, if I am being in a state of love, rapturous love, ecstasy is my broadcasting frequency, then I'm attracting people in, and abundance is just overflowing because that's the natural byproduct of my yield of energy that I have.
Right.
And it's so easy, it's so effortless. There's nothing Drew needs to do. It just happens. There's nothing you need to do, right?
So it sounds like just being in the contraction of it is what blocks it.
Yeah, totally. Self-worth issues, a lower vibration, fear. Most people have a vibration of urine. They're waiting around. Dawkins talks about this, right? It's like 200, 300 is like the average vibration of the human. But when you're at a 500, traffic opens up. Green lights everywhere you go. Parking spots are opening up. And this is not to brag about, but it's like really low white magic. Like what you do from there is opening up the fourth gate of your heart. It's traveling to other people in interdimensional realms to help them heal, to uplift them in different situations. And it's living outside of you. If you have $15 in your account, congratulations, you focused way too much on yourself, right? How much money you have in your bank account is directly related to how much self-worth you have about yourself and how much you're helping other people. Because there's so many people that need your help on this planet. And once you realize that, you'll never live another day for yourself. You'll live 1,000 years and you'll still go to your grave with the feeling that, you know what, I could have served 10,000, 100,000, a million more people than I did. I have so much more life to give. And that's where you want to be. That heart
coherence. And Joe Dispenza talks about this with the heart and mind coherence. When you're in that emotionality and the positive emotionality in the heart's getting all excited about the abundance, the thriving, the joy. In the place of gratitude, then the heart and the brain are in coherence. And from that place, it opens the doorways to manifestation like this.
Instantly. I've had visions of a fifth portal being in the heart, or like a chamber.
Yeah.
And the heart only has 4. I'm like, what's, and I'm asking like guides in this dream. I'm like, what's in the 5th?
Yeah.
And they're like, this is your GPS.
Yeah.
And it was given with you since your birth. And the GPS is tracking you. The greatest technology on the planet, right? And I'm like, well, what's in this GPS signal? Like, what comes in here? Your soul comes in this 5th chamber. All of a sudden, it's a remembering of what's going on. You get those goosebumps. You get the goosebumps on the back of your head. The Holy Spirit moves through you. That's when your soul's in your body. That's a beautiful thing. And that's when the whole world opens up. The waves are split. The ocean's ripped open. Like, that's what he's talking about.
Like, you know? That to me is the cosmic portal. That right there is when I'm really feeling in that vibration. There isn't a needing or a wanting for anything.
Yeah.
There isn't a story. There's not an anger. There's no waiting or anxiety. Like that all disappears.
Yes.
And there's so much freedom in that space and peace in that space, even when witnessing the most intense chaos, which there's plenty of at this time. It doesn't register as chaos. It just registers as, oh, there is a forgetting here. And it is in fact what is drawing my compassion and my vibration to honor whatever process is evolving right now in this person, in the White House, in media, or whatever it is to just be in that vibration of loving the experience without a judgment, without a contraction about it, but just knowing that it's having a purpose in the evolution of the new paradigm coming into to manifestation.
Yes.
It has a purpose there. And when I drop out of the heart and I judge it as bad or wrong, or I create separation, now my most powerful tool to impact that positively, I just closed.
Yes.
And I just withheld that from the universe and from unlimited possibilities. And so back to spell casting is that also, is my vibration medicine or poison, depending on how open or closed my heart is in any given moment, around any given situation. And and my dad has been my greatest trainer about that, because I could see how quickly, if he would do something or say something, boom, the doorways of my heart, like dungeons, and I would just lock. And I wasn't aware of what was happening with my heart before that. But when I was going through my awakening journey, I started saying a mantra that I was saying for my heart. I choose to know my heart's fullest capacity to give and receive divine unconditional love in all situations. And when I said that mantra for a full year, I thought, oh, I'm going to experience such amazing frequencies of love in this year. And what it showed me instead was all the ways I was blocking it. Judgment, oh, let me give to everybody else but not me, all of this stuff that was in the way of this most powerful gift we have of fifth dimensional love. And so it showed me all the ways in which I was blocking it. And so in that 5D consciousness, there's an invitation to be so aware of what is happening with vibration and the heart.
Yeah.
Because it can either be medicine or poison.
Yes.
And it goes back and forth. It's not like, oh, it's always medicine or it's always poison. And I get to see what environments or what situations it contracts, and then that's my classroom.
That's your guide. That's your GPS.
And when it expands, and I'm like, oh, spend more time there. Yes. When I'm with my soul tribe and we're watching the sunrise, when we're in that vibration of bliss, like Ananda, which joy, which actually calibrates above love, then I know I'm in the right place. Peace. It's like, do more of that, like say yes to those things more. Om, brother.
Yeah. In the heart, it's such a powerful thing. It's 100 times more powerful electromagnetic frequency-wise as to the brain.
Right.
So your field actually triples. And I believe the one mind, the universal consciousness or the divine mind, whatever we want to call it, can access that heart grid, that heart point, when it's open. When those boundaries are constricted and blocking you, then it's a lot harder to hear the internal silent wisdom that you have.
Yes.
Right? So the more stillness we can possess, the more we can allow that divine force to animate us. And it starts here. Yeah. So as you already know, and it's happening in your life. So what I did in the beginning is I would set an alert on my phone, my iPhone, and it would say, hey, go in your heart, get in your heart. And it would remind me, like every 2 hours, just to go out in nature and simply observe for the sake of observing, with no time, no schedule. And I would watch one of the most, in the beginning, like a mundane thing, like this beautiful little butterfly or hummingbird would fly up. And in the beginning of not being present, it was just a hummingbird. But when you enter the 5D, all of a sudden it becomes the greatest cacophony of music you've ever heard in your life, overflowing every single cell. It's as if every cell in your body had ears, and you're listening to this hummingbird. Almost like without doing any medicine, because I haven't, you're having a medicine experience.
Absolutely.
The psilocybin portal has been opened, and all of a sudden you're bearing witness to one of God's greatest creations in the flesh, because your heart is open enough to receive it. And those signs are everywhere. When
the heart is in that place, it sees things the mind can't see.
Yeah.
It really senses the fifth dimensional expression of another human being, a mountain, a hummingbird. And that's kind of more the shamanic
remote viewing.
Yeah, exactly.
All the other...
And being in the shamanic world and this world at the same time, I'm foot in both. And this is when I'm in sessions all the time, just like the session yesterday, we were talking literally about seeing something from a bigger perspective, and then a hawk lands right in that tree.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about, hey, dropping into a piece and a dove will land at the feeder, or a hummingbird will sit right outside this window, and it's like, where's the joy? And so I get to see that, wow, I'm part of an experience that is so much more full when I'm in that place of seeing there's messages, there's
awake.
community, there's connections, there's infinite love and joy all around when I can see and feel from that perspective.
Yeah, and I believe the more and more people wake up, it's like the ancient shaman talk about. It's like we sleep at night and we have our dreams during sleep, and then we can wake up from the dream and sleep lucid, right? We become a lucid dreamer. And then the more we wake up during the day, we start to have the awakened dream, which becomes the lucid living or the lucid life. And the lucid life eventually becomes the sacred life. So the sacred life would essentially just be the fifth dimension of what we're explaining here. Quantum physics would call it an infinite realm of possibility. But the more and more you and I live in that, the more we demonstrate that, that's all we're here to do. And the more people witness that and they adopt it and they program it and they stick it in their programming, as their holographic body does, and then the world just becomes a better place.
That's
beautiful.
That's what we're on board for. And so grateful to be at this time experiencing this with you. It's an acceleration of the remembering, and this is where the soul tribe is coming together again, so that we can
Sinking
accelerate.
island.
Yes.
That's
and so what you're talking about is Lemuria, like the old, is the tribe where we made those mistakes then, and we're coming back and having the opportunity to say, what did we learn and what can we do differently, and how can we show up with today's challenges with ancient wisdom in our back pocket and our medicine bag packed. So what are some books that you would suggest if people are just trying to figure this out, or texts that would be helpful? What are some of your favorites?
Yeah. I look at more of like authors, I think, than books, like whole collections. I mentioned Stuart Wilde. I would definitely check him out. I think Joel Goldstein is a great author as well. Lots of metaphysical books. Anything by Emerson. He's one of the greats back in the day as well. Napoleon Hill has some really good classic books.
On manifestation,
on manifestation, mindset. The Keys of Enoch are good.
Right.
Like the Secret Keys of Enoch. The Tao. The Tao Te Ching is so full. Vitality, Chi, and Spirit is another good book by Thomas Cleary. Anything by Thomas Cleary is like a whole nother level of like ancient wisdom infused with like everyday stuff. I mean, you could read a sentence and meditate on it all day, and then it just blows your mind. Mary Baker Eddy wrote a book called The Science of Health, where she breaks down the Bible in a metaphysical way of like teaching how Jesus did what he did. Very, very powerful book. Of course, I like the New Testament and the Bible as well. A lot of ancient texts. Emerald tablets are cool. You can get a lot of juice out of those things. And
It sounds like we used to block time for church or spiritual practices, and with modernization, we've just kind of said, okay, well, if religion or that doesn't resonate or church doesn't resonate, then I do nothing. And there is a return to finding church again in your own way. To me, it's nature, church, but block timing spiritual time to commune with spiritual scriptures, whether that's a personal empowerment book or anything like that, or meditation, to just block time for that in whatever way. And if there's a book, if there's a workshop, if there's a meditation or a chant, like, go do whatever feels like
the church of you.
Yes. I would call. A friend of mine says, hey, I'm going to church this morning. I go, oh, me too. He says, here in Sedona, and he goes, well, where are you going? I'm going, oh, Mother St. Gaia's Church of Elemental Unification. He's like, oh, I haven't been there. And it's like,
Mother St. Gaia.
The Holy Mother St. Gaia's Church, where the elements unite, is where I find my deepest medicine.
Christ wasn't here to tell you to go into a certain building. To repent for your sins, to heal yourself, to give 10% of your tithing. I think what Christ was really here to show us is that church is within you. Church is consciousness. It's your way of thinking. And I think the more we can connect to Christ throughout the day.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite ways to do that is to simply give. Any moment I'm in an area of giving where I'm operating out of opening up possibility for somebody else before it's ever mine, like the kingdom is just there in the moment.
I have been on the receiving end of that magic from you, your generosity, many times. And it is so beautiful the way you
Thank you.
completely have a natural flow with that. It is not contrived. It is not with strings attached. It is completely from the heart. It's genuine, and I feel love behind it.
Yeah.
And so I just want to thank you for modeling that, brother.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, because I think that's really the medicine. I think that's really how we can bring medicine into the 3D, whether it's a physical gift, whether it's total presence, whether it's a prayer, whether it's holding space for somebody where our love can be made manifest and felt by another human being. That's, I think, true prosperity.
Yeah.
Brother, I want to dive into Organifi because, you know, the work that you have done to really help people with their health, because ultimately our fifth dimensional spiritual being is in a temple, a human body that we are renting, and the lease, the longevity of the lease has a lot to do with what we put in it, how we take care of it. So thank you for bringing the awareness of juicing and superfoods and clean foods and optimizing your health, you know, to more of the masses. You've really been, you know, a leader in this field, and so thank you for that. And I love Organifi products. And so, what's your vision? What was initially your vision with this company, and your mission for, you know, making products that people can take into their everyday life?
Yeah, I think the vision was to really help people free themselves of a lot of the, you know, the events, issues, circumstances that come up that keep us playing small. You know, self-sabotage is real, especially when it comes to food. It creates dopamine and all these other rush of neurochemicals in our brain. And the greatest addiction sometimes is Oreo cookies, you know?
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. You can't eat one, you eat a whole sleeve of these things.
The cookie.
So I think for me, what happened in my life is the more I started to alkalize, not just my blood and my body, but my thoughts were secondary to that. So I felt, what could I do? How could I show up and be with people every single day without physically having to be there as Drew, elevating their mind, helping them shift their mind and remove limitations and all the other stuff that you and I do? How can I show up in the physical to help them? And then Organifi was created because of that. It's something that reminds you to be good to yourself every day. And we have powerful adaptogens, superfoods that are ancient wisdom. The alchemical response in the body is incredible. I have thousands of testimonials on Amazon all over the place of people that have dramatically transformed their life, their relationships, their waistline, because of
energy.
Just one simple practice. It's
disease.
just energy.
I think one of the biggest catalyzers for that is greens, because we don't tend to get clean greens. We don't tend to get enough greens.
Especially now.
And some are more difficult for certain bodies to digest. And this is where green juice, and you're big on juicing, which I love. And juicing was one of those big things that helped me shift my health. And I love doing green juice, and when I can't do fresh green juice, when it's just time elusive, or I don't have, you know, I'm not able to get to the store or whatever it is, and I like it fresh, I prefer it fresh, so I'll go to local juicery, who we love here.
Which I see you there.
Yes, you see me there a lot. So is this the green one? Green juice.
Is the green. This is our new branding too.
Love
like
it.
That?
Love
Isn't
the
that
new
sexy?
look. Yeah, that is sexy.
She's like a matte blue.
It's really
Looks
pretty.
Good.
So this is like an alternative to getting fresh green juice.
Yes.
But you can also put it in smoothies and things like that.
You put it in smoothies. I like mixing it with water.
Yeah.
It's got a little matcha in here too. It's all organic, non-GMO, glyphosate-free as well, which is huge.
Clean. This is one of the things I love about Organifi. Clean.
And it's premium. You know, it costs more than a lot of the other green juices that are on the market, because we really care about the ingredients that we actually put in this stuff.
Well,
who would have thought?
There's so much that have like fillers, and that what I appreciate is everything here is just like vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, like all of this.
And it's sweetened with monk fruit, just a little bit,
right.
So you don't have some of the other disrupting components of some of the other sweeteners that are out today.
Yeah.
And it's Really, really good.
You can put that in a juice too. You can put it, if you're having like an orange juice or something like that, you can put it in there.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. Many people, like, the goal for this was to create the best tasting green juice on the planet.
Yeah.
Without adding anything else.
So
Because
yes,
that's a whole nother process.
get your greens in, and I love to do that first. I usually take greens.
This isn't even open
Yeah,
yet.
green powder, green powder, and green juice, and get that in the body with my supplements first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
In
Change
the morning.
your pH.
Yeah, and that's alkalinizing and definite. And I noticed that the more greens that I did early on, it starts to shift the sugar cravings, because greens are bitters. And greens have minerals.
Exactly.
And sugar takes minerals out of the body.
Yeah.
So if you've got a sweet tooth, you've got to balance that with a lot more greens, because otherwise you're stealing from your bones the minerals that you'll need, or you're stealing the minerals from your glands.
Yeah.
And minerals are required for higher consciousness. So that's mineral rich. Get on
Super
that.
mineral rich.
Do that. Okay.
Train your taste to trim your waist. That's what we do.
Say it again?
Train your taste to trim your waist.
Okay. So it is shifting. I noticed that my sugar craving drops the more greens that you have.
Yeah, you're just alkalizing your body. I mean, eventually sugar is not even part of your reality.
Right.
Like, imagine that, going in the kitchen and like trying to find broccoli.
Yeah,
Because you're just craving it so much. I just need broccoli, some little bit of grass-fed butter, some good Celtic salt.
Right.
I mean, so much better for you too.
Yeah, I'm like that with arugula. I'm like, just give me the bitter. Now I crave bitter. Okay, so another one of my favorites is the gold, because this one is because this one has chocolate.
Yeah,
it's
the
got
chocolate dessert.
Cacao, and then but it also has turmeric in it, and I really like the combination of turmeric. Can you explain why turmeric's important?
Yeah, curcumin, which is turmeric, which is great for remedying and supporting inflammation. Yeah, I got to say supporting inflammation.
Yes, of course.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Right. So I really like this one because I can get that anti-inflammation.
Yes.
And one of the things that I've always loved about cacao is that it's brain food.
Yes.
That magnesium, it's good for the blood, and it's good for mental focus. So I like my cacao in the morning.
Yes, and there's turkey tail in there too.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yep, and reishi.
Okay.
So you got your immortal mushrooms in there as well, the medicinal mushrooms.
Just good for immune support.
Yeah, super powerful for immune support. Yeah. Good for all that. And it tastes absolutely incredible. People love this. It's like having a brownie.
Right.
You know what I love to do with this? Is I take this with coconut oil, and I melt the coconut oil in a pan, put 3 or 4 scoops of this in a little 6x6 cooking sheet or something, glass container.
Yeah.
Mix it all up, and then I put peanut butter. I put it in the freezer, and then I put peanut butter or cashew butter or almond butter on top of the frozen cacao / chocolatey treat, and then you eat that.
Dude.
And then you want to level it up. You put a little of the cocoa whip.
Oh, yeah.
On top of a piece.
Geez,
and then you can level it up even more. You put a little Celtic sea salt on top and a little bit of coffee grounds.
Ooh.
Just a little bit. It is unreal.
Oh my God, I would eat that for breakfast.
Yeah.
With the coffee in the morning. Like, oh my gosh, okay, that's done.
Yeah.
Free bonus, you're getting recipes here. This is the turmeric and reishi. I like this one at night because I can make golden milk with it.
Yes.
I can just put it with a little almond milk and then...
Yeah, or water.
Or water.
Yeah.
And so this is one of my favorites, and I always put this one in smoothies. This one goes in every smoothie, whether it's a green smoothie or I'm putting this and this. But I love the turmeric flavor.
It's so good.
And it's really good for anti-inflammation, which I'm always looking at.
You feel it in your body. It's warming, so it's great for your digestion. It's got ginger in there as well.
So I like that at nighttime. I like that at night because the turmeric kind of calm is like a little bit of calming.
When I first got this, I drank this all day, every day.
Yeah.
Especially when it's winter. It's cold. Keep your supporting your immune system with the immortality or the mushrooms that are in here as well. It's great.
You have done wonderful things, and there's more products. The one that I really like, I also like this, and of course lately I'm taking that a lot. These are what I think is cool is that these packets are just ready to go. So I travel with these.
Yeah, the immunity.
And that is really important right now. Is to just throw this in water. That's it. Just throw it in water. And some of them taste like nasty. This one doesn't. I really like it. So it makes it easier.
As a kid, I grew up drinking orange juice in Michigan, and my mom and dad would hand me this pasteurized jar of BS, and they were like, "Hey, drink this. It's good for your immune system." And then 2 or 3 times a year, I'd have like a sinus infection and all this nasty stuff as a kid. And then I'd go to the doctor and I'd get antibiotics.
Same.
Like drink more orange juice, all while feeding yeast and fungus in my body, which was causing this anyway. So
and the dairy.
Getting rid of sugar, getting rid of dairy, and then having an orange juice, or I can't say orange juice because I think that's a trademark term.
Right.
But having something that tastes
citrus,
that's citrus, like orange, that's absolutely incredible with vitamin D. You got your vitamin C from the cherries that are in here as well, which are support inflammation as well. This is an incredible product. Super, super potent, super powerful.
For now, especially.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
I don't even know if we have any more of this. It may be sold out, but yeah, I'm glad that we have it here.
Yes, I'm all over it. I'm taking as much as I can.
The beta-glucans from the mushroom, we use ultrasound technology to extract it. So it's like the newest technology for getting the most bioavailable components of the reishi mushroom in your body.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
See, you're all over, the highest quality stuff. So, Drew, I want to thank you for the catalyst that you are.
Thank you.
And you've been a catalyst in physiology, and you are expanding and shifting into being a catalyst for the soul and for people living a radically intentional life and really optimizing every area of their life. And you're living that. You're living that.
Thank you,
and I get to see this with you here in Sedona and all the play that we have and the dinners and the adventures on the land and how much we laugh and play. I had the opportunity to see you in different ways. And you're living what you are, teaching. You're embodying it. And I really feel that. And so I'm so grateful for you being here now and being an igniter and an example and a leader.
Yeah, thanks for having this podcast. And, every time someone comes to Sedona to visit, I'm always like, you got to go see Anahata and get healed and do your thing. And you have such a beautiful dance in life. And I know anybody that listens to this show feels you, and it's such a beautiful thing. So thanks for showing up in my life once again.
Thank you. If you are so excited about getting Organifi, go to Organifi.com and use the code.
You have a family discount, right?
Yes. So 15% off people get,
awesome.
Which is awesome. Thank you. We thank you. And use Anahata, Anahata, when you go to checkout, and you'll get 15% off all of these. Do your family a favor and do this for the holidays. Do this for Christmas. Do this for your kids. There's red juice. There's also collagen. There's more products.
The brain stuff.
Yeah, for brain. So go check that out. And so we also have a free gift today, and that is a higher self guided meditation. So we want you to go check out that free gift. We'll have that in the show notes.
Awesome.
And we'll also have the links for this as well. And for the Quantum Manifestation, which is our year-long program of the Quantum Leap program, which is up-leveling every area of life. We're giving 25% off of that program right now. So excited to have people dive into that. So we will have that in the show notes as well. Drew, will you tell everybody where they can find you? Because you've got some great resources for people to dive into.
So you can call upon me in dream time, okay? So if you want to experience other interdimensional travel, just say my name, tell your subconscious to come find me. I know this sounds crazy, but we do a lot of work there. And Instagram and Facebook at Drew Canole, you can find me there as well. And Fit Life TV, it's a health and online platform that we built 11 years ago to help inspire people to transform and get their most ideal bodies. So check out fitlife.tv or at Drew Canole. We'll put it in there.
Absolutely.
And get Organifi, you guys. If you're curious about what products are right for you, you can always call in, talk to one of my lovely family members that are part of the support team. They'll guide you, they'll assist you, they'll show you what's right for you at this time. So thanks for watching.
Such good service, great products, and everybody that listens and follows this show and knows me knows that I don't get behind something that I don't use, that I don't actually use or believe in, and it's got to be high quality and high integrity, and so that's what Organifi does. So I'm honored to let people know about this and how I use it. So Thank you, everybody.
good.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. You can find me at shamangelichealing.com. I'm here in Sedona online with virtual programs as well, virtual workshops and virtual breathwork, so you can experience, if you can't get here in Sedona, you can experience all kinds of virtual experiences with me. Come and join me for the Quantum Leap online high-performance group coaching program. I love this experience because it takes every area of your life to the next level. We go after mindset, relationships, manifestation, productivity, your vibrant health, your spirituality, every area of your life. We're going to break it down and give you high-performance strategies to take your life to the next level. So go check that out. Nowhere else is it 25% off, so that's just an end-of-year gift. We want everybody to have the tools they need to up-level.
Yes.
Go and get the free gift, the guided visualization to your higher self, because we want you to be able to access what we're talking about, and that is a journey into the heart. It's a journey into your higher self, and you'll get some beautiful insights there. So go get that free gift from my heart to yours. And definitely go to Organifi.com and use Anahata to get 15% off.
Yes.
Yes, so excited. Drew,
Thank
you. Love you, brother.
Yes, love you too.
And thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to give us a rave review, and go visit Drew, go visit me on Anahata Ananda, and let's go live the 5D and raise consciousness together.
We're in this together.
All right, love you.